Tim can join us when he is here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to start the meeting with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for coming out, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll start with the approval of the agenda. Any additions or corrections? Paul? Nope. Liam?
I have none.
Ryan? No? Okay, I've got a couple additions we need to add under F1, Planning Commission recommendation for a public hearing. And then under A2I for the consent agenda, Paula Peterson sewer forgiveness request. Those two are the adds. Did you have anything else besides those two, Tim? Okay, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as changed.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thanks, Ryan. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On the consent agenda, questions for administration on the consent agenda? Entertain a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Ryan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Mel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see here. I don't have any visitors tonight. Mayor's report, public forum. So we've got public forum. I do have one card from Tracy. If you want to come up to the podium, just state your name and address and then share your feedback.
Okay. I'm Tracy Schmidt. I live in Casson at 601 21st Street, Northeast Casson. I'm also a teacher at the school, and I just wanted to address a couple of concerns I had about the Big Iron Classic event that took place this last weekend. I recognize that community events are important for fostering unity, celebrating local culture, and driving economic growth. However, when these events disrupt daily routines, compromise safety, and negatively impact our community's well-being, it becomes necessary to address those challenges and work towards a more balanced approach. Recent events in our town have led to concerns regarding blocked parking lots, increased road congestion, unsafe pedestrian behavior, and harmful activities occurring on school property. These issues not only affect residents' ability to go about their daily routines, but also pose significant safety risks to students and property. Therefore, I'd like to address some of these things. So, one of my primary concerns is the blockage of the parking lots during the event, particularly for those who need to leave work. So on Friday, the school parking lot was blocked while I was still at work at the elementary school, and there were barricades out. When this happens, it creates undue stress, delays, and logistical challenges, forcing people to find alternative ways to leave work, especially in an already congested kind of area with all three schools there. Roads being blocked off led to rerouting of traffic, and then you're kind of forced to take those busier streets that often have higher volume of pedestrians, many of whom are crossing in the middle of the roads, not using those crosswalks, which creates a safety challenge. While large gatherings it's often necessary to have some level of road closure and parking restrictions, the current setup severely hinders the ability for people to navigate the town. A thoughtful traffic management plan needs to be implemented, one that ensures parking is available and that people can leave the parking lot, a clear way to prevent congestion. Additionally, the event organizers should collaborate with law enforcement to better ensure pedestrian safety regulations, particularly ensuring crosswalks are used to protect both drivers and the pedestrians. Another issue was some litter of alcohol products. I'm not sure if this is the forum for it or if I need to go to the school, because I'm not really sure who owns that land where the people are camping, if it's the city, if it's the school, if it's the county. It was kind of, I was like, I'm just starting here, and then people might tell me, you actually need to go here to get these questions addressed or answered. So feel free when you respond to me to say, it's actually the school, or it's actually the county, or wherever I need to go. But there were litter, there was like alcohol products that had blown into the school. My own students found them. My children found them when I was up on Sunday, headed into my classroom to get all that stuff done before the week. And then my son reported that there were broken beer bottles at the middle school as well. So while offering, I understand that we need to provide camping for these people, but we need a solution that isn't breaking those rules that we have for our school. The presence of alcohol-related litter on school grounds creates an unsafe and unsanitary environment. Allowing this behavior on public property or at the school is poor example for our community and threatens the safety of our students. These are areas that are meant to be places of learning and play, not sites for inappropriate destructive behavior. The property damaged, I've had some people share with me as I've been kind of ranting about this, that they've had property damaged by the event. People that are there also raising concerns for me and for homeowners whose rights and personal spaces should be respected at all times. The solution here requires stricter enforcement of these event rules. Organizers should have a leave no trace policy, increase supervision, and ensure that campers are aware of their responsibilities. The safety of our students should always be a top priority. I realize this is probably more of for the school, but I just wanted to put it out there. And with an influx of visitors and added road congestions, the students who have to walk in these areas are forced to go in this area based on the school policy of how you get to school in those areas. So some suggestions that I have are to try to figure out the improved traffic and parking management, possibly changing the structure of it, making those spaces a little different, but also maybe communicating with the school to let us know that your parking lots are going to be barricaded and it will be challenging to get out, or a traffic flow plan that's just a little safer, forcing people not to take, I try to avoid, especially during the fair and the big one, I try to avoid Manaville Avenue because I don't want to hit anyone and I want to just be safe, and I try to take that back way because I'm often traveling from one side to the other side. Maybe we could look at not closing that road down, but I understand that there's other things that I'm probably not considering as well, but just something to consider. Possibly adding some maybe more law enforcement that could work together to ensure that the visitors are following the rules and ensure that people who have to walk in that area are safe. More supervision in that campsite area to make sure, I don't know who that falls under when it's this school policy not to have alcohol or tobacco products on a school grounds and we're having people camp there that are participating in those kind of activities. Safer walking routes for students. One possible solution is maybe during this time we bus kiddos. Again, I realize a school issue. I want to acknowledge that this is a community event. It's important to our town's culture. It brings in, I know, a lot of revenue and stuff, but I think that we have to be very careful that we're also protecting our town and that we are, we're following the safety of property and people. The current event setup is causing numerous disruptions and safety risks that I feel must be addressed. By implementing maybe some improved traffic plans, enforcing safety rules, and prioritizing the needs of our students, we can continue to enjoy the benefits of such event without compromising the safety and comfort of our community. If we can't do these, I think that it might be important for our town or whoever's in charge of this to look at changing the date, or then I'll go to the school board maybe and, suggest maybe changing the school calendar so this all doesn't coincide at the same time and cause such a disruption. So that was all. I just wanted to share my concerns on that.
Perfect. I'll get back to you on some of those since I can just walk across the street. Thank you. Yeah. And I'll get back to you. I'll address that.
Can I address one of them?
Yep.
So, I'm on the dance team booster, and the dance team was setting up the barricades.
Okay.
And there must have been a miscommunication, and we'll work on that next year to make sure. We thought they said we could barricade at 4, but we'll work.
Well, and our contract time is done at 3:30. I will tell you that the first week of school, it's rare that you'll see a teacher at the elementary school leave at 3:30.
Yeah. So we'll work with that next year, and we can change our barricades. We can just put them up later.
Okay.
Because we just try to keep people
from going in there. Yeah.
So then they're paying, but.
Yeah.
So it was the booster team for the dance team for the school, but we can work on that.
Okay, perfect.
So that one I can help.
Okay.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. On to F1, the one that was added there, memo from Planning Commission to call public hearing. Ian, you want to?
Yeah, so just briefly, the last couple of planning commission meetings, we've had some discussions about the city ordinance regarding fences in the city, particularly the ones that get put up within that 3-foot distance that triggers the requirement for a conditional use permit. And so, basically, we've talked about a number of proposed items, namely would be removing the need for a conditional use permit, but making the permit instead more administrative, handled by staff here at City Hall. So, in effect, that should make the permit process a lot faster and cheaper for residents, but also we would want to maintain the access agreement requirements where possible. So basically, since we're talking about an ordinance change, we do have to have a public hearing, so we're just asking to have that one here at the council meeting and the second one in October. That will give us one more opportunity to discuss the ordinance changes one more time at the planning commission meeting.
So the only thing that's changing is to eliminate the CUP process of it to be administrative?
A couple of smaller things that are tweaked, but that's the biggest change, yeah.
Okay, and so that public hearing, when do you want to have that?
The second meeting in October, which is the...
23rd.
23rd.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments for Ian on that?
Are residents given a breakdown of the cost of that, of their permit, and then sending it out when we send it out to paper, when we have to send it to their neighbors? Are they given a breakdown of how much those things cost at a time, so they know?
Not typically.
It might be beneficial. I got yelled at a couple of weeks back at the ice cream shop by someone who wasn't building a fence, but his neighbor was. And he was quite upset by the fees, and I couldn't specifically give him exactly the breakdown, but it would be nice to provide them that so they know what those fees are for and what they're covering, so that they understand why they're paying for what they do.
Our new permit, though, shows the fees that we're looking at bringing. It showed that it's a $46 access agreement per property, and all that's in our new permit that they would have to fill out. That would be part of this change.
But right now, with a conditional use permit, it's just any conditional use permit costs $300.
Yep.
And that's separate from the recording fees.
Right.
But the $300 that goes towards posting the public hearing notice in the newspaper, which is required by state statute, is sending out the letters in the mail to anyone that owns property within 500 feet of whatever property that's being considered. It's also a state statute thing, even though when you're putting up a fence, it really only affects like maybe 4 properties, but instead you might have to send letters out to like 50 people.
So eliminating the conditional use permit eliminates the need to send it out to a ton of people who really don't care.
Yeah, it should reduce the cost substantially, and that's one of the pluses to this process change as well, so.
Yep.
And the new permit would list each price. There's a interior fence, exterior fence, and then so much for access
But if you
agreements.
want to go past the 3 feet closer to the property line, you still have to get your neighbor's approval?
Yes.
Yeah.
Access agreement.
Yes. Thank you for the term, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Do you need a, we don't need to...
I think you can just order this meeting set date.
We'll have a...
Published.
One last question. Will we get a red line copy of the new ordinance before the public hearing? Or like at our next meeting or the one after?
Yeah, I could do that. It's just that because of the way that I kind of reorganized things, a lot of it would be more read than not read, I think.
Or
but I could send
a copy of the new, proposed new
I could do that,
ordinance.
absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we will have a public hearing at the second meeting in October, which is October 23rd, during the regular meeting at 6 p.m.